Atomic Habits. Introduction and Core Philosophy. Atomic Habits by James Clear is a groundbreaking self-improvement book that revolutionizes how we think about building good habits and breaking bad ones. Published in 2018, the book presents a systematic approach to habit formation based on scientific research, practical experience, and Clear's personal journey from a devastating injury to becoming a successful writer and speaker. The title Atomic Habits reflects the book's central premise. Small changes compound into remarkable results. Just as atoms are the building blocks of molecules, atomic habits are the fundamental units of our larger systems of behavior. Clear argues that we often overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. The book's philosophy centers on the idea that success is not about making radical changes, but about making tiny improvements consistently over time. A 1% improvement every day compounds into a 37-fold improvement over a year. This mathematical reality forms the foundation of Clear's entire approach to habit formation and personal development. Clear introduces the concept that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Getting 1% better every day counts for a lot in the long run. This perspective shifts the focus from dramatic transformations to sustainable, incremental progress that accumulates into significant change over time. The fundamentals of atomic habits. The power of compounding. Clear begins by establishing the mathematical and practical reality of compounding improvements. He illustrates how the British cycling team transformed from mediocre performers to Olympic champions through marginal gains, tiny improvements in every aspect of their preparation and performance. This real-world example demonstrates that breakthrough results often come from a series of small wins and tiny breakthroughs. The concept of compounding works both positively and negatively. Just as good habits compound to create remarkable results, bad habits compound to create significant problems. The key insight is that habits are a double-edged sword. They can work for you or against you, which is why understanding how to build good habits and break bad ones is critical. Clear emphasizes that habits often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold. He calls this the plateau of latent potential, a period when you're putting in work but not seeing results. Most people give up during this plateau, not realizing they're often closer to breakthrough than they think. Systems versus goals. One of the book's most revolutionary concepts is the distinction between systems and goals. Clear argues that while goals are about the results you want to achieve, systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Winners and losers often have the same goals, but winners have better systems. Goals have several problems. They create an either-or conflict where you're either successful or a failure. They assume happiness is delayed until the goal is achieved, and they create only momentary change rather than lasting transformation. Systems, on the other hand, are about falling in love with the process rather than the product. The system-first approach means focusing on who you want to become rather than what you want to achieve. This identity-based approach to habit formation is more sustainable because it addresses the root cause of behavior change rather than just the symptoms. The 4 laws of behavior change. Clear organizes his entire approach around 4 fundamental laws that govern habit formation. These laws are derived from decades of research in psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral economics, distilled into practical principles that anyone can apply. The first law. Make it obvious. The first law addresses the cue phase of the habit loop. Many of our daily actions are performed automatically without conscious thought. To build new habits, we must first become aware of our current habits and then design our environment to make good habits more obvious. Habit stacking is one of the most practical techniques in this category. This involves linking a new habit to an existing habit using the formula. After I existing habit, I will new habit. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. This leverages the established neural pathways of existing habits to build new ones. Environment design is another crucial element. Clear emphasizes that behavior is a function of the person and their environment. Small changes in context can lead to large changes in behavior over time. Making visual cues obvious in your environment significantly increases the likelihood of performing the desired behavior. The 2-minute rule states that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. This principle recognizes that the goal is not to do one thing for 2 minutes, but to master the habit of showing up. The idea is to standardize before you optimize, establish the routine first, then improve it. Implementation intentions involve being specific about when and where you will perform your new habit. Instead of saying I will exercise more, you say I will exercise for 30 minutes at 6 a.m. in my home gym on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This specificity dramatically increases the likelihood of follow-through. The second law, make it attractive. The second law focuses on making habits irresistible by leveraging the brain's reward system. Our brains have evolved to prioritize behaviors that release dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. Temptation bundling combines something you want to do with something you need to do. For example, only listening to audiobooks while exercising or only watching your favorite TV show while doing household chores. This strategy leverages anticipation and desire to make less attractive habits more appealing. Social environment plays a crucial role in habit formation. We tend to adopt habits that are praised and approved of by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong. Clear discusses how to leverage social influence by joining groups where your desired behavior is normal behavior. The book explores how dopamine-driven feedback loops work and how to hack them for positive habit formation. Understanding that dopamine is released not just when we experience pleasure, but when we anticipate it, allows us to design habit loops that feel rewarding even before we see results. Reframing habits involves changing how you think about them. Instead of I have to exercise, think I get to build endurance and strength. This mental shift from obligation to opportunity makes habits more attractive and sustainable. The third law, make it easy. The third law emphasizes reducing friction and making good habits as easy as possible to perform. Human behavior follows the law of least effort. We gravitate toward options that require the least amount of work. Environment design for ease involves restructuring your physical space to make good habits easier and bad habits harder. This might mean laying out workout clothes the night before, keeping healthy snacks visible and accessible, or removing the batteries from your TV remote to make watching TV slightly more inconvenient. The 2-minute rule is central to this law as well. The idea is that any habit can be scaled down to a 2-minute version. Read before bed each night becomes read one page, and do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. This approach focuses on showing up rather than achieving a particular outcome. Preparation and setup can dramatically reduce the friction of good habits. Meal prepping on Sunday makes eating healthy easier during the week. Having a dedicated workspace makes it easier to focus on important projects. The key is to spend time optimizing for convenience. Clear introduces the concept of decisive moments, choices that deliver outsized impact. These are like forks in the road that either send you in the direction of a productive day or an unproductive one. Optimizing these moments can have a disproportionate impact on your daily habits. The fourth law, make it satisfying. The fourth law addresses the need for immediate rewards to reinforce positive behaviors. The human brain prioritizes immediate rewards over delayed rewards, which is why many good habits feel difficult and many bad habits feel good in the moment. Immediate rewards are crucial for habit formation because they satisfy the brain's craving for instant gratification while building long-term value. This might involve giving yourself a small treat after completing a workout or using a habit tracker that provides visual progress. Habit tracking is one of the most effective ways to make habits satisfying. Seeing your progress visually provides immediate satisfaction and helps maintain motivation during difficult periods. The key is to track the habit itself, not the outcome, because you have more control over your actions than your results. Accountability systems leverage social pressure and external consequences to maintain consistency. This might involve workout partners, public commitments, or habit contracts with friends or family members. The fear of letting others down or facing social consequences can be a powerful motivator. The concept of never missing twice recognizes that everyone will occasionally miss their habits, but the key is to get back on track quickly. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new bad habit. This rule helps maintain momentum even when life gets chaotic. Identity-based habits. Perhaps the most profound concept in the book is the shift from outcome-based habits to identity-based habits. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, focus on who you want to become. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. The 3 layers of change, outcomes, processes, and identity work from the outside in for most people, but Clear argues for working from the inside out. True behavior change is identity change. You might start a habit because of motivation, But the only reason you'll stick with one is that it becomes part of who you are. Identity reinforcement happens through small wins. Each time you write a page, you become a writer. Each time you practice guitar, you become a musician. Each time you encourage others, you become a leader. These small actions accumulate into a body of evidence that changes how you see yourself and how others see you. The process of becoming involves two steps: deciding the type of person you want to be and proving it to yourself with small wins. The key insight is that your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits. This creates a powerful feedback loop that can work for or against you. Advanced strategies and techniques. The Goldilocks rule. Clear introduces the Goldilocks rule. Humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, but just right. This principle helps explain why some habits stick while others don't, and how to design practices that maintain engagement over time. Progressive overload applies not just to physical exercise, but to any skill development. Gradually increasing the difficulty of your habits ensures continued growth, prevents boredom or plateaus. The key is to increase complexity only after mastering the current level. Deliberate practice involves focusing on the elements of a skill that are just beyond your current abilities. This requires intense focus and immediate feedback, which is why working with coaches or mentors can accelerate habit formation and skill development. Breaking bad habits. While much of the book focuses on building good habits, Clear also provides a systematic approach to breaking bad habits using the inverse of the four laws. Make it invisible, remove environmental cues that trigger bad habits. If you want to eat less junk food, don't keep it in your house. If you want to spend less time on social media, log out of your accounts and remove the apps from your phone. Make it unattractive. Reframe bad habits to highlight their costs rather than their benefits. Create a motivation ritual that reminds you of the negative consequences of your bad habits or the positive benefits of avoiding them. Make it difficult. Increase the friction associated with bad habits. Use website blockers for distracting sites. Keep your phone in another room while working, or ask your spouse to hide the TV remote. Make it unsatisfying. Create immediate consequences for bad habits through accountability partners, habit contracts, or public commitments. The key is making the cost of the bad habit immediately apparent. Environmental design. Clear emphasizes that behavior is a function of the person and their environment. Small changes in context can lead to large changes in behavior over time. This principle applies to both physical and social environments. Physical environment optimization involves designing spaces that naturally encourage good habits and discourage bad ones. This might mean rearranging furniture, changing lighting, or strategically placing objects to serve as visual cues. Social environment optimization involves surrounding yourself with people who embody the habits you want to develop. Join groups where your desired behavior is normal behavior. The people around you determine which behaviors are reinforced and which are discouraged. Digital environment design is increasingly important in our connected world. This involves curating your social media feeds, choosing which apps to keep on your phone, and designing your digital workspace to minimize distractions and maximize focus on important activities. The role of genetics and personality. Clear addresses the common concern about whether genetics determine our ability to build habits and achieve success. While genetics influence our predispositions, they don't determine our destiny. The key is to build habits that align with your natural inclinations while still challenging yourself to grow. Genetic predispositions affect things like personality traits, natural talents, and physical characteristics, but they don't prevent you from building any particular habit. They simply influence which habits will be easier or harder for you to maintain. The explore/exploit trade-off suggests spending time in exploration to discover your natural strengths and interests, then exploiting those discoveries by building habits that align with your talents. This approach maximizes your chances of long-term success and satisfaction. Specialization becomes important as you develop expertise. The habits that got you started won't be the same habits that keep you going. As you advance, you need to continuously refine and adjust your approach while maintaining the fundamentals. Practical implementation. Getting started. Clear provides specific guidance for implementing atomic habits in your daily life. The key is to start small and focus on consistency rather than intensity. Choose one habit, make it incredibly easy to do, and focus on showing up every day rather than achieving perfect performance. Habit selection should prioritize high-impact activities that align with your goals and identity. Look for habits that serve multiple purposes or create positive ripple effects in other areas of your life. Reading, for example, can improve knowledge, reduce stress, and provide entertainment. Timing and context matter significantly for habit formation. Link new habits to existing ones through habit stacking. Choose times when you have the most energy and fewest distractions, and create specific plans for when and where you'll perform your new habits. Tracking and measurement provide feedback and motivation, but they should be simple and sustainable. Use habit trackers, calendars, or apps, but don't let the tracking become more complicated than the habit itself. Troubleshooting common problems. Clear addresses the most common obstacles people face when trying to build new habits and provide specific strategies for overcoming them. Lack of motivation is often a sign that the habit is too difficult or not attractive enough. Make the habit easier, more rewarding, or connected to your deeper values and identity. Inconsistency usually results from trying to do too much too soon or not having clear systems in place. Reduce the scope of your habit, create better environmental cues, and focus on the process rather than the outcome. Plateaus and boredom are natural parts of the learning process. Introduce progressive overload, vary your approach while maintaining the core habit, or focus on the identity benefits rather than just the performance metrics. Life disruptions like travel, illness, or major changes require flexible systems. Have backup plans for different scenarios, focus on minimum viable habits during difficult periods, and remember that missing once doesn't derail your progress if you get back on track quickly. The compound effect of atomic habits. The book's most powerful message is about the long-term impact of small, consistent actions. Clear uses various examples and calculations to show how seemingly insignificant habits compound into remarkable results over time. Mathematical compounding demonstrates that a 1% improvement every day results in being 37 times better after 1 year, while a 1% decline every day results in being nearly zero after 1 year. This mathematical reality underlies all personal development. Skill compounding occurs when habits build upon each other. Reading regularly improves your knowledge, which improves your thinking, which improves your decision-making, which improves your results. Each habit reinforces and amplifies the others. Identity compounding happens as small actions accumulate into evidence of who you are. Each repetition of a habit strengthens the neural pathways associated with that behavior and reinforces your self-image as someone who embodies that habit. Cultural and social dimensions. Clear explores how habits spread through communities and cultures, and how social dynamics influence individual behavior change. Understanding these forces can help you leverage them for positive habit formation. Social proof is a powerful force in habit formation. We tend to adopt behaviors that are common in our social groups. This can work for or against you, depending on the habits that are normalized in your environment. Cultural transmission explains how habits spread through communities over time. Understanding this process can help you become a positive influence in your family, workplace, or community by modeling the habits you want to see others adopt. Collective change happens when individual habit changes aggregate into cultural shifts. By focusing on your own atomic habits, you contribute to larger positive changes in your community and society. Advanced applications. Professional development. Clear discusses how atomic habits apply to career advancement and professional growth. Small, consistent improvements in professional skills compound into significant career advantages over time. Skill development through deliberate practice and consistent effort leads to expertise and professional recognition. The key is identifying the core skills in your field and building daily habits around improving them. Network building through small, consistent relationship-building activities creates professional opportunities and collaborations that compound over time. Leadership development occurs through daily practices of communication, decision-making, and team building. Small improvements in leadership skills have outsized impacts on team performance and organizational results. Health and fitness. The book provides extensive guidance on applying atomic habits to health and fitness goals, areas where small changes can have dramatic long-term impacts. Exercise habits should start incredibly small and focus on consistency rather than intensity. The goal is to establish the identity of someone who exercises regularly before worrying about specific performance metrics. Nutrition habits benefit from environmental design and preparation. Small changes like keeping healthy snacks visible and accessible can have significant impacts on long-term health outcomes. Sleep habits create the foundation for all other habits. Small improvements in sleep hygiene compound into better energy, mood, and cognitive performance throughout the day. Financial habits. Clear demonstrates how atomic habits apply to financial health and wealth building, showing how small, consistent financial behaviors compound into significant long-term results. Saving habits benefit from automation and environmental design. Setting up automatic transfers and making saving the default option leverages the power of systems over willpower. Investment habits compound over time through both financial returns and increased financial knowledge. Small, regular investments combined with continuous learning create significant wealth over time. Spending habits can be modified through environmental design and increased awareness. Small changes in spending patterns compound into significant differences in financial outcomes. Conclusion and integration. Atomic Habits concludes by emphasizing that the secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. It's remarkable what you can build if you just don't stop. This isn't about perfection. It's about persistence and the compound effect of small, consistent actions. The book's lasting impact comes from its practical, science-based approach to behavior change. Clear provides not just inspiration but specific, actionable strategies that anyone can implement immediately. The four laws of behavior change provide a simple framework that can be applied to any habit in any area of life. The identity-based approach to habit formation represents a fundamental shift in how we think about change. Instead of focusing on what we want to have or do, we focus on who we want to become. This approach creates more sustainable change because it addresses the root causes of behavior rather than just the symptoms. The emphasis on systems over goals provides a more sustainable approach to improvement. While goals provide direction, systems provide progress. By focusing on the process rather than the outcome, we create conditions for continuous improvement and long-term success. Clear's work synthesizes decades of research from psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral economics into practical wisdom that can transform lives. The book's power lies not in revealing completely new information, but in organizing existing knowledge into actionable strategies that anyone can use to build better habits and break bad ones. Atomic Habits ultimately argues that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act but a habit. By understanding and applying the principles in this book, we can harness the compound power of atomic habits to achieve remarkable results in any area of life. The key is to start small, be consistent, and trust in the process of gradual improvement over time.